Good evening, Star Pupils. I'm your host, friend, and life coach, Mrs.Divine Awakening. As you all know, I'm a life coach. I coach people to live a life they love through meditation and unconditional self-love. This is part 3 of my 30-day meditation basics series. Today, I'll be addressing why meditation is so important, what the benefits of meditation are, how do you know your meditation is working, and then I'm going to allow myself to go off on my rabbit hole. And that's where I could just talk about the things that are coming up for me. I am trying to be more to the point with a lot of my videos nowadays as I'm discussing the meditation, but there's just so much information to be had from this, so I want to make sure that I am thorough as well. When I do my YouTube videos, I really do enjoy being able to say the things that come to my head, to speak freely, because this is my YouTube channel and I want to speak my truth and explain my truth. And as I'm on my journey to explain, to be able to share the definitions and the knowledge that I have with others who are now coming across this as well. And I do all this because it's how I learn me. It's what I'm learning when I'm learning me. And that is one of the main important benefits of, or that's one of the main important reasons why meditation is so important, is that it helps you to learn yourself, to discover your truth. So as I'm doing this meditation series and other videos that I do, just when I do the videos on my channel, I will be conveying certain points, but I will also be going through the thoughts that are in my head as well, because there's just so much information. And when you train yourself to start asking questions, start thinking on top of thinking, and you start to get so many answers. And so as you come across this knowledge, as I'm coming across this knowledge, I want it to be there. I want it to be there for me. I started my channel for me, because I wanted to reach as many people as possible. I wanted to share my knowledge with everyone, but it's somewhere where everyone can see my knowledge. And not that it's my knowledge, but the information that's out here. There's so much information, it's almost impossible to learn everything. You're always learning something. So you never know when you're sharing something in a way, or sharing something that someone else is trying to understand, where you're clear for them, or are able to conceptualize something that most people haven't thought of, or are trying to figure out how to conceptualize it. So that's what I was doing it for at first, but then I realized it's not even about that. It's not even about reaching as many people as possible. What it's about is the fact that I am creating intergenerational wealth of knowledge, because knowledge is power. So I'm making sure that my family, my children, my grandchildren, their grandchildren, have access to me, which in turn is them in the future. We're still connected even through the future. So they will learn who they are through their learnings, and through learning who I am, because I'm a part of who they are. And this is something I really got a chance to learn while homeschooling my children. So right now the whole world or the nation is homeschooling right now because of the coronavirus. And this is something that I have been seeing the importance of. as I started my homeschool journey, I learned from the teacher at Kamali who founded Kamali Academy that one of the important parts of Black history is your history, your family history. And through homeschooling, that's something you're able to do. So I was able to learn my family history, just my intermediate family, and then a little bit out to my extended family. Like we went all the way down to like great aunts and uncles, grandparents, great grandparents, great great grandparents for some of the children. And learning their history explains so much to me about who I was, and even to the children about who they were. So them seeing these videos in the future is going to really advance their self-knowledge and put them in direct connection with their ancestors. So that is, to me, one of the reasons why I do my YouTube channel, and one of the biggest reasons why it's important to meditate, so that you can learn yourself and be able to communicate clearly to those around you and allow them to see the things that you've discovered about yourself, and you see the things you discover about yourself. So, during my meditation videos, if you pay real close attention, you'll notice that there's a slight sway that happens to me as I'm meditating. That sway is the connection between the Earth's energy and the cosmos. So that's that energy is being sent throughout my body. And it's strengthening my internal wiring. So meditation is important because your magnetism is increased. Therefore, you are able to attract things quicker. Meditation gives you a type of high that relaxes you, slows you down in your thoughts, and puts you in the present moment for longer. You enjoy laughing and joking more. You are more playful. You begin to pay more attention because your senses are heightened. You become able to invite those alpha waves you talked about in video number 2 for the meditation series. Those alpha waves that calm you, relax you, you're able to invoke them on command. Therefore, you're instantly calming yourself and reducing stress. And that's powerful for right now, because stress, it weakens your immune system. And if people are catching the coronavirus and it's harder for them to fight out because they have a weak immune system, then stress is something you want to reduce in your life. So a major benefit of meditation is that it's an avenue towards self-discovery, which is what I was talking about earlier. By self-discovery, I don't just mean learn more about yourself. That's true, but also for you to really research your emotions, your feelings. And the way you do this is because you're becoming aware of yourself at every moment through your senses. So your senses have become overstimulated right now. Everything we purchase, foods, drinks, shoes, when we go traveling, drugs, whether it's legal drugs or illegal drugs, books, all these things that are consumed by the consumer are to stimulate one of your senses. So right now, as a whole, we are overstimulated. And this reduces your ability to feel. So you begin to lose touch with who your true self is. So that self-discovery I'm talking about means really to figure out who your true self is. So I say that you're overstimulated, that we all are. How do you know that you're overstimulated? Here's a test you can do. So next time you take a shower or a bath, feel the temperature that you naturally are comfortable in when taking a shower or a bath. You may notice that you need super hot water for you to finally feel relaxed and comfortable. You may notice that your water is slightly hot. or that it's slightly cold, that it's too cold, or that it's warm. You know when you're overstimulated, when you don't know how to be comfortable in water that is warm. I don't mean warm but a little hot, or warm but a little bit on the colder side, like truly warm. When you are able to detect when it goes from warm to starting to get cold, to warm to starting to get hot, that's how you know that you're pretty much balanced, that you're not being overloaded, that you're not being overstimulated, is when you start to get warm, where you start to notice warm and be comfortable at warm. But if you find that you need even a little bit hot or a little bit more on the colder side, that's telling you something about yourself, and you have to discover what that is, because it's stopping you from being able to feel and notice your intuition, feel and notice yourself, feel and notice when things are actually working out for the best for you, or feel and notice when there's something you need to pay attention to change. Why is it important that we pay attention to our feelings or in our emotions? Why is it important that we discover that part of ourselves where our feelings are now important, that once we detect them, we start to pay attention to them? It's because we are run on our feelings and emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. These things fuel us. The things we want in life require the most energy, which is why it's so hard for us to accomplish it. So whether that's losing weight or making money, more money, or have a family with children and a husband, these things that we are after requires a lot of energy. So it requires a lot of focus. And meditation will both increase our energy and improve our focus. And so that's one of the reasons why meditation is so important, because that benefit that you get from it is amazing. So that's a benefit actually of meditation, is that it can increase your focus and increase your energy. So what other benefits do we have from meditating? Meditation allows your mind to slow things down. So when I was talking about earlier about being in the present moment, that's what it allows you to do. It allows you to have downloads, new information that you weren't necessarily privy to before, or that you have gotten before, that came across plenty of times, but now you get it like an epiphany. So it allows you to have more downloads, which essentially are epiphanies. It allows you to crack codes in movies and see the bigger picture of things in your own life, because your own life is basically like a movie. So it allows you to see the patterns that are happening. It allows you to understand when things are happening for you. It allows you to tap into that first sign, that first feeling that something has shifted within you. So when you're going from a beta wave to an alpha wave, when something is finally trying to get your attention, when you finally feel it, you're able to go there and really explore what it is that you're feeling. Because you will understand that feeling more through meditation. That meditating is practicing you feeling that feeling of your senses, of something trying within you, trying to get your attention. Another benefit of meditation is that you are able to tap into the collective consciousness, and you are able to connect to your awareness, which is in turn you understanding your subconscious mind, what's really going on inside of you. So what the collective consciousness is what the world is paying attention to. What currently has the focus of the world? What vibration is coming in for the world to feel? And then our consciousness, our own consciousness, or our subconsciousness is What vibration are we currently feeling from the world? Where are we at vibrationally? What is the energy we are feeling? What is the energy we are putting off? And so it makes a difference between our individual self versus the collective, meaning everyone who's tapped into it, which is basically like saying the masses. And if you're part of the masses, then that means you too. And another benefit of meditation is that you get awesome ideas. Awesome ideas are able to break through. And some people feel like they have great ideas, but then when they, like, I don't know, think about it more than once, they feel like it's not that great anymore. And that's just like from their everyday thought process. But when you're meditating, you're understanding these ideas are coming from something bigger than you, or the bigger part of you, not even something bigger than you, the bigger part of you that knows that this is something you should do and could be doing. So you have more trust in yourself, more trust in the message that you're getting, and are therefore building up your intuition as well. So building up your intuition is another perk of meditation. That brings us into, how do we know when your meditation is working? So your meditation is always working. Once you decide to sit down and focus on self, that's when you begin your meditation. So your meditation is always working because you decided you were going to make the effort to focus on you and what's happening around you and your world. Another way to test if your meditation is a tangible way to test if your meditation is working is your dreams. How much of your dreams are you able to remember? How realistic were your dreams? What were you able to pick up with your senses in your dreams? When you're able to remember more and in detail of your dreams and even feel more of your dreams, will bring your consciousness into your dreams. That's how you know your meditation is that strong, because it's making you able to recognize your consciousness and have more control over having a conversation with your consciousness, or studying it, looking at it, observing your consciousness. Another way to see if meditation is working is that you'll start to have open-eyed meditation. So you kind of look like Raven Simone in That's So Raven. You're starting to just look like you're just in a daydream daze because you're able to focus more and focus on a thought. Another way you will notice if your meditation is working is what other people are telling you. Someone might say you're more patient, more calm, seem less stressed or relaxed, or even that you're more clear in your thoughts. People will start to notice things about you before you notice it yourself. And another way to notice that your meditation is working is that you are able to detect patterns that you have, to really understand your habits, because then you can recognize what programs you have set in place for yourself, whether intentionally, meaning consciously, or subconsciously, meaning unintentionally. When you start to notice your habits, you start to recognize the programs that are input in you, and you are better able to assess if this is a program that is working for you, or serving you, or is this one that is harming you in some kind of way, making you unhappy, one that is no longer serving you. That's how you know your meditation is working more, because not only are you able to start feeling, to start being aware of the programs you've put in place, as you're dissecting why that program is there, why you have that habit, why you do what you do, you start to see if this is something that you have set in motion, or if there are other influences around you that have set this in motion for you. So that can say a lot, because you may come to realize that, when did I get this idea first that other people should teach my children, should educate my children? Then you may see that, that's what I was doing when I was younger. I was taught by this system. Or that's what our people fought for back in the day. They wanted to be educated and go to these schools, but they were told no, they couldn't. And then you just go as far back as to when you felt that this was the right thing for you. And then question that. Ask yourself, knowing all that I know now, is this the right thing for me? And maybe for some of you that it is. It may be for some of you that it's not, that educating your children is your responsibility. And what was important for you to learn in life anyway, is that what's more important to teach your children, or is the standard education what you should teach your children, and how to teach your children this? What would have helped you along the way to have studied this or learned that or made these choices or made that choice? What would help you to discover who you are? And then you help your children discover who they are. But it's all about habits and questioning why you're doing something, or why you like this choice you made, or why you don't like this choice you made. So when you're able to start having those conversations with yourself, be excited and interested in learning about yourself and having these conversations with yourself, that's how you know your meditation is working. So during this video, I wanted to make sure to remind you during this time of being with your families during the corona shelter in place mandate. I want to remind you to love your family and to cherish this moment that you have to be at home, settle down, unwind, even that you have to be bored. Some of you are feeling really bored. When I'm bored, I meditate because it's like another experience. But some of you are able to have this downtime, and whether that means you're working from home, which is something that a lot of us wish we could do anyway, or whether that means that you have no job right now, or that your job has slowed down, or that you're just not working as much. This slowed down. Enjoy this. America's always running. The world is always running. Be able to really enjoy this time at home and sit down with self, sit down with family. Like I said, I'm making these videos so that my children, my family, my future grandchildren, their grandchildren have access to me and my thoughts and who I was, who I am, in the future. And so right now, take this time out to really listen to those in your household, really listen to those who you are close to and you are in contact with. Because you have something to learn from everyone, whether you're learning it about yourself, whether you're learning it in general. We all have something to learn from each other, no matter the age. It's not that the old are the wise only. Little children are just as wise. Babies learning how to talk are just as wise. Babies in general are just as wise if you know how to connect with them outside of a verbal level. Grandchildren have things to learn from grandparents, and grandparents and great-great-grandparents have things to learn from grandchildren. We are always learning. There's a ton of information out there, and we don't know everything, and it comes to us in the weirdest ways. And during this shelter-in-place mandate, remember that things are always happening on a grander scale, so there are many benefits to what's happening right now. And just trust and believe that one day that'll be revealed to you what the reason behind all this was and how to play the magnificent role in your life to the point where it's blessing you in some kind of way, shape, or form perfectly. Thank you for listening to this if you've gotten this far, because that means that the message was for you and it got across to you. Take time out to teach your children, parents, during this time. Really appreciate what the teachers have been doing, because it's really your job in the end. We have been trained and programmed to be okay with giving that important role to someone else. And that's fine if that's what you're choosing to do. But when we decided we were going to have children, bring a life into this world, we became responsible for them. So that responsibility includes what goes into their mind, what kind of person they become, what kind of things are important to them. So I encourage you to go onto my website and check out my program I have for student enrichment. The Student Enrichment Educational Program gives you alternative ways of tapping into the mind of your child and even learning those important lessons or skills, different tricks, different tips, different techniques and strategies, and even different subjects to work on them with. So it's all about what it is you're trying to instill in your children. What programs and values are you setting in place, and which ones do they want set in place for their life? So it's about how to discover yourself. So it's how the child will discover their self, their true self. And in turn, you're also able to emphasize as a whole, as a family unit, what values you have in place as a family, and help them to see what they feel about that, who they are in the midst of all this. So it's not to enforce your views necessarily, your values on the child. It's to have them understand that, but also understand what it is that works for them and doesn't work for them. So able to basically build up that family tree, that branch, because essentially all of us together, we make a tree because we're all a family. We make the trunk of the tree, but our roots and our branches extend in different directions because we each are adding on in our special way, making that tree grander and grander. All right, Star Peoples, check out my website for my student enrichment packet. Also, you can check out my website for my spiritual baths. I sell aromatherapy baths as well, so if you're not with the whole spiritual part of it, that's fine. There's aromatherapy bath salts, and they can be used whenever you feel like enhancing your senses and reducing the amount of stress on you. There's lots of research on aromatherapy and its importance. With aromatherapy, you can get rid of headaches, or you can ease them. You can stop the use of harmful pills. After so many pain pills, you can actually develop ulcers. And other side effects from that, like super thin blood thinning. You can stop injecting ourselves with different things like snake venom, like just desperation that's happening just the amount of desperation that's happening for people trying to ease away migraines. These aromatherapy bath salts can help with that, because you can even just not even use the bath salt in your bath. You can just sniff it when you need to. This has no side effects, so you can just take a breath of fresher air for the most part, or air infused with these remedies, these herbs, these medicinal herbs. My aromatherapy baths can help calm nausea for pregnant women, and it can remind you to breathe and be mindful when you're breathing, and to be mindful throughout your day. All right, so thank you, Star Peoples, for engaging with me tonight. And remember to meditate so that you may know yourself, so that you have the ability to see beyond yourself and to represent that higher version, or that next version of yourself, whenever you are called to do so. Have a great night, Star Peoples.